What if the most precious thing your family owns, the very symbol of your legacy, became the weapon used against you? For generations, our family gold was a testament to our history, a tangible link to our ancestors. It was more than just wealth. It was our story, cast in metal. But a sinister plot turned it into the ultimate leverage for blackmail, forcing us to unravel decades of devastating secrets. Today I'm going to share the story of how our ancient heirlooms became instruments of ruin. It all started with the gilded cage, as we've come to call it. The treasure itself was legendary within our family, a collection of gold coins, intricate jewelry, and other artifacts passed down since the 1800s. We'd hear stories about it at family gatherings, whispered tales of how it survived wars and economic collapses. It was stored in a custom-built vault, a symbol of our endurance. But a few years ago, things started to feel off. There were subtle anomalies, a logbook entry slightly out of place, a security sensor that triggered for no reason. We dismissed them as quirks of an old system. We could not have been more wrong. The first real shock came when my great-aunt received an anonymous email. It contained a photo of a specific gold locket from the collection one only the immediate family knew about, and a demand for money. The email hinted at a family indiscretion from her youth, something she thought was long buried. That's when we realized our treasure wasn't just being watched, it was being weaponized. This wasn't a simple smash-and-grab operation. This was a meticulously crafted enterprise. We later discovered that someone had spent years cataloging our family's history, cross-referencing every baptismal record, every business deal, every whispered rumor with a specific piece of gold from the vault. Each heirloom was assigned to a secret. The gold wasn't the prize, it was the proof. It was the key that unlocked the blackmail. The mechanism was diabolically simple. The blackmailers would send a picture of an item, say, my grandfather's signet ring, along with a demand. The message was clear: pay up, or a dark secret connected to that ring's era would be exposed. The first strike against my great-aunt was just a test. The real attack came a month later. An email went out to my uncle, a respected community leader. The photo was of a set of Spanish doubloons from the 1850s. The message attached was a scanned document. A land deed transfer signed by our ancestor, but it was a forgery that had cheated another family out of their property. The blackmailers didn't just want money. They wanted my uncle to publicly step down from his position on a city council board, a move that would coincidentally benefit a rival developer. The threat was explicit. Refuse, and the historical fraud would be leaked to the press, destroying our family's reputation. The demand was so specific, so strategic. It was then we knew this wasn't just about extortion, this was about power. The shockwave it sent through the family was immense. Our sacred history was being used to dismantle our present. Forced into a corner, we had no choice but to dig into our own past. We became detectives of our own lineage, following the threads laid out by the blackmailers. Each demand forced us to confront a new, uncomfortable truth. It was a painful process. We started with the forged land deed. Poring over old family journals and county records, we confirmed the blackmailer's claim was true. Our great-great-grandfather, a man we revered as a pillar of the community, had built his initial fortune on a lie. The discovery was devastating. It felt like the very foundation of our family was cracking, but that was just the beginning. This time, the secret was more personal, involving a hidden affair and an illegitimate child who was written out of the family history entirely. The betrayals just kept coming, each one more shocking than the last. A story of wartime collaboration, a business partnership sabotaged for personal gain, a political scandal covered up. The circle of suspicion began to widen. At first, we assumed it was an external enemy, a rival family, or a corporate adversary. But the details were too intimate. Blackmailers knew things that weren't in any public record private conversations, inside jokes, nicknames for the heirlooms themselves. As we reeled from the family revelations, the threat evolved. This wasn't just about old letters and dusty records anymore. They started leaking minor, embarrassing details on obscure internet forums, just to prove they could. We discovered they had accessed old, forgotten cloud storage accounts, pulling out deleted emails and private messages. They had built a digital shadow of our family, combining historical secrets with modern vulnerabilities. We hired a cybersecurity firm to trace the emails, and a private investigator to look into potential suspects within the family. We were trying to plug leaks in a dam that was crumbling from 100 different places at once. Every time we thought we had a lead, it would vanish. They adapted to our resistance, too. When we started communicating offline, they sent a package to my cousin's workplace, proving they could reach us anywhere. The blackmail was no longer just a threat. It was a constant, suffocating presence in our lives. The breaking point came when they targeted the next generation. They sent a message to my teenage niece, threatening to release a private video from her phone unless her father, my brother, pulled his company out of a major merger. Targeting a child crossed a line. We knew we couldn't keep fighting a defensive war. It was time for a confrontation, through a combination of digital forensics and old-fashioned detective work. Piecing together travel records and financial statements, our investigator finally found a weak link. The mastermind was a distant cousin, a quiet, unassuming man who had always felt cheated out of what he believed was his rightful inheritance. He had partnered with a disgruntled former employee of our family's business, who provided the technical expertise. The confrontation was quiet, devastating, and pathetic. There was no dramatic confession, just a tired man admitting he wanted to see the family he resented burn. The legal consequences were swift, but the emotional fallout will last a lifetime. Our family is forever changed. The gold, once a symbol of our legacy, now feels tainted. We've had to redefine what our heritage truly means. It's not in the gold. It's in our resilience, in our ability to face the ugliest truths about ourselves and still choose to be a family. This experience taught us a crucial lesson for today's world. Your assets aren't just what's in your bank or your vault. Your history, your data, your privacy, these are the new currencies of power and control. Protecting your legacy in 2026 and beyond means being as vigilant about your digital footprint as you are about your physical possessions. Our story is a warning. Be mindful of the stories you tell, the information you share, and who you share it with. Because in the wrong hands, the things you cherish most can become the very tools of your destruction. Thanks for listening to our story. If you found this insightful, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden side of wealth and legacy. Stay safe out there.